Welcome to the presentation presented by B. Finn Burke on Mieko Ouchi. Born in 1969 in Edmonton, Alberta, Mieko Ouchi is an actor, director, dramaturge, and writer. She continues to work in Edmonton with her past work as the co-founder and artistic director for theater company Concrete Theater, and now holds the position of TD Associate Artistic Director for Citadel Theater in Edmonton. To quote from an Edmonton Sun article on Mieko herself, she has been nominated for the Governor General's Literary Awards for Drama and the City of Edmonton Book Prize. It has also been the recipient of both the Carol Bolt Award and the Enbridge Playwrights Award for an established Canadian playwright. Today, I'll be going over who Mieko Ouchi is, what her journey was in becoming a playwright, and what kind of themes she has used in her plays, and a list of notable plays she has written or directed. Her first experience with theater was a production of Jack and the Beanstalk she saw as a kid. She would develop a passion for writing that she would continue to hone in her childhood journal. In high school, Mieko Ouchi would write her first play in her grade 11 theater class called A Dinner with the Smiths, a play made specifically to play off cliches for laughs. It managed to get picked up and workshopped with theater professionals at ATP, Alberta Theatre Projects, and was later directed on the stage by Ruth Smiley, who we now know serves as the artistic director for the Globe Theatre of Regina for many years. And after Dinner with the Smiths, Mieko would make another play she made about the Dada art movement in grade 11 called A Cabaret Lemon. This was when Mieko Ouchi realized she had a gift for theater, writing, and acting. And so, once she graduated high school, she decided to major in theater at the University of Alberta. Mieko Ouchi's years at the U of A were enlightening to her, but not as productive as you would think. She would meet and collaborate with several other students taking classes in acting and dramaturge. Many of her fellow classmates would go on to become highly successful artists such as Vern Thiessen and James MacDonald. Ironically, Workshop West Playwrights Theatre, a professional Edmonton-based theatre company, would approach her while she was doing her BA to help her direct one of her plays, but she turned them down, saying, "I'm done writing for now." One memory that stuck out to her was an acting teacher that told her, and this was without her approaching him, "You have great potential as an actor, but you need to stop dabbling in other things. Focus only on acting, and don't dilute your potential." This turned out to be terrible advice, as Mieko had graduated at a time when working in acting, writing, and directing was becoming the norm and most desirable. After graduating, Mieko Ouchi would work several odd jobs as background and extra characters in theater and film productions. It was in 1987 that she, Caroline Howarth, Kazime Sokil, Jan Anselm, and Eleanor Holt co-founded Concrete Theater. Still running to this day, Concrete Theater is a theater company known for creating plays for young audiences from elementary schools and high schools. Some notable plays that have come from this company include I Am For You, The Bully Project, and Consent. The theater play Consent is notable, as Mieko wrote it to deal with the taboo topics about teenage sexual encounters, and I quote, exploration of sexual consent and what it means for both parties involved. While Mieko had a lot of her work themed within young adult and children's theater, do not be fooled in thinking her work talks down to children or teens. You know the ones. The colorful, nonviolent, and controversial theater plays that try to be educational and fun like Muppets. but they end up just being filler pieces that are more meh than great. During a performance of The Silver Arrow, a dystopian sci-fi version of Robin Hood and His Merry Men, Mieko remembered a specific teenager coming up to her and asking, before he went to see the show, is this a real play or a fake play for kids? What Mieko said to that kid best sums up her work with concrete theater. It's a real play, and it's for kids. Here we have 5 of Mieko Ouchi's best known works. Burning Mom, I Am For You, Songs My Mother Never Sung to Me, The Red Priest, The Blue Light, and The Silver Arrow. In next slides, we'll be going over 2 specific plays, I Am For You and Burning Mom, as they both are very personal pieces. Songs My Mother Never Sung to Me, My Mother Never Sung Me, in particular, is impressive for being performed by an all-deaf cast with ASL as an opera musical. It took nearly 11 years for Dave Clark to write the show and for Mieko Ouchi to dramaturge and translate the play into several languages through multiple translators. Next slide. As reviewed in Burning Mom, Mieko based the play on several of her mother's journals that she wrote during the death of Miyoko's mother, and how her mother went on an adventure at the Burning Man Festival in Nevada because it was a place that her mother wanted Mieko and his wife to go to one day. It was made specifically to be performed in a wide space so as to capture the feeling of depth and majesty that was the Burning Man Festival. I Am For You draws much from Miyoko's experience as a teacher and instructor at the U of A theater department. At the time, she was teaching Shakespeare and had noticed a disparity in the quality of treatment female students were getting while playing in female roles. I Am For You was written as a response to it, that women can also be just as violent as men and have just as much fun. To quote from her in the Scriptwrite podcast, I taught Romeo and Juliet at Arts Track, actually as an instructor, and the kids fell in love with these main characters who are teen characters. Tybalt, and obviously Romeo and Benvolio. I was in this MFA director project at the U of A. They hired some professionals to come in and do a play for one of the MFA directors. I got to play Lady Capulet. And I was struck just watching how rehearsal process happened. That we would get to, rehearse. And all the guys would have a fight call where they would get to do all this fantastic fighting and super fun stuff. Then all the women would get to rehearse being slapped around and abused and thrown to the ground. Lady Capulet being slapped, Juliet being thrown to the ground, the nurse manhandled, basically family violence being enacted. And then we'd rehearse, and it was like, wow, this isn't that fun, actually. So I thought I needed to write a show where all the girls got the fun, and it kind of talks about the family violence in the play. And it talks about violence with girls. Girls can be as violent as boys. We want to feel empowered, but also can really be physically violent with each other. So I was really interested in starting a play with a fight between 2 girls, figuring how to fight on stage and how to actually get along off stage. So, now that we're nearing the end, I like to go over the big question. What are the main themes of Miyoko's plays? After checking out her work, for stuff such as I Am For You, Consent, Silver Arrow, Burning Woman, and Songs My Mother Never Sung Me, I believe that Mieko Ouchi focuses a lot on themes of growing up and both the pain and happiness that comes from life experiences. I Am For You was an attempt to parallel in-school conflict with theatrical conflict, and teaching how to separate the two in a way that brings people together from life experiences. And through shared artistic love rather than push them away. as she alluded in the Scriptwright podcast. Almost all of her work are semi-biographical in nature, especially because she likes to put herself into different characters, recapturing certain events in her past life and turning them into a performance. She especially loves to use music as a medium to tell her stories. The Red Piece is an example of this, as it is an orchestral arranged opera. The story follows a woman in a loveless marriage forced to take on violin lessons from real-life famous composer and violinist Antonio Vivaldi. Ironically, this play relates to Miyoko's own life, as she was pushed into playing the violin by her mother for nearly 8 years before she quit at the age of 16. She swore never to play violin ever again, and yet many years later she has taken up to playing it specifically with her musical and opera work. I believe everyone can relate to this in some way. A parent or a partner pushing someone into investing time in things that have no interest in just because it looks prestigious. Therefore, whether it be through connecting to youth through art or through personal hardship and music, it is no doubt that Mieko Ouchi will continue to create amazing plays and foster the growth of future theater performers to come. Thank you for viewing this presentation, and I appreciate it so much to the class of script writing. Have a good one.